committee, applicants, agents, staff, and members of the public. I now call the Committee of Adjustment meeting for June 20th, 2024 to order. As this meeting is also being held virtually, I will remind you that meeting is being recorded and streamed live via the County of Brant YouTube account. We have no Committee of Adjustment members joining online tonight, but applicants, agents, and members of the public can identify those members if they were online. Also, planning staff will be requested to join the meeting during presentations and will be available to answer questions. Applicants, agents, owners, and delegations are also participating virtually. All persons wishing to speak to the items on the agenda were required to register prior to the meeting. Any comments, questions, or concerns received in written format have been provided to the members of the committee and will form part of the meeting record. Applicants, agents, and members of the public, please ensure your camera is off, your microphone is on mute throughout the meeting, and your name is correct on the Zoom screen. When called upon to speak, please remember to unmute your microphone and turn on your camera before speaking. I believe we have no public delegations tonight, but normally they are allowed 10 minutes to present. In the event and that a connection or service interruption occurs, we may recess the meeting. I don't think it's a problem for quorum tonight. And if you are present in council chambers tonight and wish to speak on any particular item, please come to the podium, give your name, and speak into the microphone. The meeting procedures are as follows. The meeting is held in accordance with the provision of the Planning Act. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss minor variance and consent applications and give anyone in attendance the opportunity to ask questions, provide comments related to an application. Notice of this meeting was provided by mail and signed, posted by staff as required by the Planning Act. A copy of the meeting agenda, including the staff report, related materials, and comments received are available on the County of Brant website. Once the presentations, public hearing, and question period are complete for each item, if the committee deems it appropriate, they will make a decision. That decision is final following the 20-day appeal period. Please note the sign-in sheet at the entrance if you are attending in person and wish to be notified of any decision from this evening. Kindly note your name and address and an application on the sign-in sheet. If you do not request a copy on that sign-in sheet, you will not be notified. The names of those individuals who speak on any item tonight will appear in the meeting minutes. Anyone wishing to receive further notice or a copy of the committee's decision, please contact the County of Brant Planning Department. The order of delegation are as follows: the planning staff report and recommendation, applicant agent presentation, questions and discussion, public comments, further questions of clarification, and a decision. I will now take attendance. Please indicate by stating present if you are in attendance. Mary Jane Brown, present. Harry Emmett.
Present.
Steve Schmidt.
Present.
Bob Hamilton.
Present.
Jang Panag.
Present.
John Vamus.
Present.
And we will note that Rebecca Smith is absent. I'll now move to item 2, approval of agenda. Do any members have items to be added to the agenda? May I request a mover and a seconder? Member Emmett? Member Hamilton? Could I please have your motion, Member Emmett?
It's moved by myself and seconded by Member Hamilton that the agenda for the County of Brant Committee of Adjustment meeting of June 20th, 2024 be approved.
Thank you. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Hamilton.
Yes.
Member Panag.
Yes.
Member Vamus.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion has carried. The agenda for tonight's meeting has been approved. Declaration of pecuniary interest. Are there any members who would like to declare a conflict of interest for any item on the agenda this evening? I believe there are none. We will now move to item 4, the adoption of minutes from the previous meeting of May 16th, 2024. Do the committee members have any errors or omissions to note? It appears there are none. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Member Schmidt? Seconder, Member Hamilton. Could I have your motion, please, Member Schmidt?
It is moved by myself and seconded by Member Hamilton that the minutes from the County of Brant Committee of Adjustment meeting of May 16th, 2024 be approved.
Thank you. Members, please indicate if you're in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Hamilton.
Yes.
Member Peneg.
Yes.
Member Vamus.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion to adopt minutes from May 16th, 2024 has carried. They have now been brought into record. I will now introduce item 5.1 for applications B6, B9, 24HH and turn it over to staff for the presentation of the report and the recommendation.
Good evening. This is a consent application for lands located at 19 Credence Street within the geographic township of Paris. The subject lands are located within the primary urban settlement boundary of Paris, having frontage along the north side of Queen Street and the west side of Credence Street. The subject lands gain access from Queen Street and Credence Street. The subject lands currently contain an existing constructed semi-detached dwelling located towards the center portion of the lot with municipal infrastructure. The subject lands are designated urban residential within the County of Brant official plan and located within the primary settlement boundary of Paris. The subject lands are currently zoned residential singles and semis within the County of Brant zoning bylaw 6116. The applicant is proposing the division of the parcel containing an existing semi-detached dwelling into 2 separate and conveyable parcels within the primary urban settlement boundary of Paris. The severed lands will have a frontage of 21 meters and an area of 437 meters. The retained lands will maintain approximately 23 meters of frontage along Credence Street and have an area of 577 square meters. The applicant also proposes to establish an easement along the front portion of the severed lands to ensure access is available to the property owner of the proposed retained lands to maintain their existing heat pump. The easement will be 1.5 meters wide by 3 meters long to ensure that there is enough space to access the area. I would like to note that only one amendment was made to the application added to the addendum, and it was a correction to condition 2A to remove the wording related to private services. As a result of the consent review, staff is of the opinion that the request is in conformity with the official plan and compatible with the neighboring land uses. It is also recognized that the suitability of the land for the proposed purpose, including the size and shape of the lot being created, is appropriate for the surrounding area. I am recommending approval of consent severance application B6-24-HH and consent for easement application B9-24-HH. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members have any comments or questions on this application? Member Hamilton, please go ahead.
Through the chair to staff, it's on the easement B924. Just looking at it, condition 5, you said it has to be done within a year versus the 2 years given for the other. I just wondered if that was possibly a typo, or is that how it goes?
Through the chair, yes, that's an error. It needs to be 2 years.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Is the agent or... Oh, sorry, Member Vamus.
Through the chair to staff, to separate this building into two separate residences, isn't there like a code? There has to be like a firewall in between and all that? Everything's okay for that? You know, to break this into two separate living quarters?
Through the chair, this was originally a church and it got a change of use to become a single detached dwelling, so it would have been reviewed under the building department to ensure that it was appropriate for a single detached dwelling.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from committee members for staff? I believe the applicant or their agent, was it Michael Brown and Christian he's online now. Christian?
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Simonides. I'm a planner with Arcadis. I am here on behalf of the property owner, Michael Brown, representing our client with respect to this proposed severance application. I don't have a formal presentation for you tonight, but we certainly support staff's recommendation for approval. In my opinion, is a fairly straightforward severance. Both the minimum lot area, lot frontages will be met for both the retained and severed lot. Also, again, it's the existing building, as well as the existing structures on site will remain as they exist today. There are no changes in that respect. And certainly, I appreciate the comment too made for the correction with respect to changing the date from 1 year to 2 years. Yes, and then I do apologize for overlooking that as well. I should have caught that as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Do committee members have any comments to the agent? Member Emmett, please go ahead.
Through the chair to the agent, just wondered, is the heating part of the system, does one do both buildings or are they separate?
Through the chair, the heating pump it relates to the retained lot, so the east half of the building, and not both buildings. That's my understanding. Which is why the easement is in place, so that in favor of the retained lot on the severed lots, that there can be access for maintenance purposes. And that's the route that we've recommended for our client, and believe that's the most appropriate approach, rather than reconfiguring the servicing in that respect.
Member Emmett, please go ahead.
Okay, further to that, if down the road that through time the systems do change, could the easement be released at that time? I don't know whether that goes to the agent or staff.
Through the chair, it wouldn't come through us, but they could certainly work with their lawyers to remove the easement from title if at some point they do wish to address different heating system.
Any follow-up questions or comments?
Not at this time, anyway.
Okay. And there are no public delegations. So are there any final? Member Vamus, please go ahead.
Yes, through the chair to the applicant. To your knowledge, has this Michael Brown, the owner, gave any thought to moving the existing heat pump to a different side of the house? Then he wouldn't need the easement at all.
Through the chair, well, I understand Mike is on the call right now, so if Mike, you have an answer in that respect, but I understand in previous conversations and the approach that we've had internally, it would just remain as it exists, and then the easement is just the most appropriate. But again, I'll let Mike comment if necessary.
Hello, I'm the owner, Mike Brown, for 19 Credence Street. The heat pump is for Unit 1, the one that's requiring the easement, in place there. And then we've got another separate heat pump for Unit 2 in the event that there was a change down the road where we needed to alter the system, certainly we would want to work to remove that easement.
Does that answer your question, Member Amos?
Kind of. I just wondering why can't he just move it to the other side of the house and then he's fine.
Did you hear the question, Mr. Brown?
Yes, apologies for that. I can potentially look into that. There may be significant expense in moving the system. It is relatively new, so I'm ideally hoping to avoid additional costs.
Okay, thank you.
And oh, sorry, go ahead. That's it for me.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was going to add to, given that we're at the severance stage anyway, this is certainly an appropriate time to address the easement now, at this stage of the process. So we certainly wouldn't want to defer that to a different date and address the easement now through the conditions of approval anyway. So.
Are there any final comments or questions from the committee for staff or the applicant agent? So I'll ask the committee, are you prepared to make a motion? Member Hamilton, please state your motion.
Maybe just before I will make two motions, one for the severance and.
Yes, please. Yes, one motion.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right, I move that we accept application B624HH for severing the two units and looking for a seconder. Because with to follow the list of conditions that have been put forth, and because it is within the workings of the official plan of the County of Brant and the zoning bylaws.
Thank you. Seconder, Member Schmidt. I will now call the vote, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Peneg.
Yes.
Vamus.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion to approve application B624HH has carried, so the severance has been approved by the committee. Member Hamilton, would you like to provide the motion for the easement?
Yes, I move that we accept application B9-24HH for the easement on this property because with the conditions that have been included in the package here, because it will follow the official plan of the County of Brant and the zoning bylaws.
I'll only add that condition 5 was modified to recognize 2 years.
Oh, yes, pardon me, with the adoption of the amendment to condition 5.
Thank you. Seconder, Member Schmidt. I'll now call the vote, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Hamilton.
Yes.
Member Peneg.
Yes.
Member Vamus.
No.
And Member Brown, yes. There is only one no, so the motion to approve severance B924HH has carried. The easement is therefore approved. Thank you. I will now introduce item 5.2 for application A724HH and turn it over to staff for the presentation of the report and the recommendation.
This is a minor variance application for lands located at 319 East Quarter Town Line Road within the former geographic township of Burford. The subject lands are located near the intersection of 8th Concession Road and East Quarter Town Line Road in the County of Brant. The subject lands currently contain an existing dwelling that was constructed in the 1970s, which was legally established as a legal use before the passing of the existing bylaw came into force and effect. The surrounding area consists of agricultural land uses. The subject lands are designated agriculture within the County of Brant official plan and are currently zoned heavy industrial within the County of Brant zoning bylaw 6116. As per the Planning Act, Section 45(2), property owners may apply to the Committee of Adjustment for permission to expand legal nonconforming uses. The applicants are requesting to permit the construction of a detached accessory structure within the heavy industrial M3 zone for residential purposes. The existing dwelling was constructed in the 1970s, which was legally established as a legal use before the passing of the existing bylaw coming into force and effect. As it stands within the current zoning, a single detached dwelling is not permitted within the current heavy industrial M3 zoning, and therefore the existing dwelling would be considered a legal nonconforming use. As a result of the minor variance review, staff is of the opinion that the request is in keeping with the overall intent of Section 45(2) of the Planning Act. The request will not result in undue adverse impacts on the surrounding properties and neighborhoods, and the development will not be an increased risk to human health or well-being. I am recommending approval of the minor variance application A7-24-HH. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Haley, for the presentation. Are there any comments or questions from committee members to staff on this application? Member Vamas.
Through the chair to the staff. So what is the zoning on this? Is this industrial or agriculture, this lot?
Through the chair, the zoning of the property is heavy industrial M3. The designation is agriculture in the official plan.
Just a follow-up. So with agriculture, you're only allowed one separate, unattached dwelling. So since there's a frame shed there already, so this would be his second dwelling, second structure.
Through the chair, you're permitted to have accessory structures. So as long as it meets the requirements of the all other zone requirements, which is 5% of the total lot area, he would be permitted to have multiple as long as he's within that 5%.
Okay, because on page 4, it says that only one detached dwelling is permitted. So that's why I mean this is the second one, so I don't know.
Through the chair, only one detached dwelling is permitted, but accessory structures, there's permitted more. So this is a proposal for an accessory
Okay.
structure, not a dwelling.
Any further questions, comments? Member Hamilton?
Through the chair to staff, I'm just looking for clarity, I guess, here. This here has already been established from previously, and all we're doing is cleaning it up and making it look nice so they can go ahead and get the appropriate for the building permit to build the garage. Is that my understanding?
Through the chair, yes, we're just extending the residential use that's currently on this heavy industrial use to permit them a residential accessory structure.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Is the applicant or their agent present and wish to make, add to staff presentation or make their own? I believe it is Brandon Llewellyn. Oh, are you Brandon Llewellyn? No.
Brandon's on the
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. You have nothing to add? Then, are there any comments or questions from the committee members on this? No? Member Vamas?
Through the chair to staff. So where would the entrance be for this? North of the house? Or because there was not enough, or be on the south behind the carport?
Through the chair, it is my understanding that there's no proposed entrance for this accessory structure.
Through the chair, I'll just add further that planning staff would then look to operations for if the entrance permit is required, and that would be a separate permit review, not through our department.
because the south side's pretty tight and the north side's full of trees, so then there'd be a lot of trees have to come down to make a driveway.
Does the applicant wish to add anything on that matter? Could you come to the podium so that we can get you for record? And perhaps address Member Vamus for his concerns? So could you repeat your question again, please, Member Vamus?
I was just inquiring where the entrance to this, this new building with the proposed garage would be, if there's gonna be a driveway.
Well, it's just gonna be grass.
Just drive on the grass?
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
this-
on there's a big gate going into the backyard on the north side of the house. And then it goes over to the south side of the back lawn, and there's a big gate there that will go right out into the area where it is.
Okay, because when I drove by, there's a lot of trees there. I know,
Yeah, but you can easily drive through there.
I didn't know if you were gonna put a driveway in or something, or you have to take down trees to make a
No,
laneway.
it's just
to make a
grass.
laneway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further
Thank you.
comments to staff or the applicant? I believe there are none. Thank you for clarifying that. And is the committee prepared to make a motion now? And could I have one? Member Emmett, please go ahead with your motion. Thank you. Is there a seconder? Member Penag. I'll now call the vote, starting with Member Vamus,
Yes?
Member Penag,
Yes.
Member Hamilton,
Yes.
Member Schmidt,
Yes.
Member Emmett,
Yes.
and Brown, yes. The motion to approve application A724HH has carried, so the minor variance has now been approved. Thank you. I will now introduce item 5.3 on our agenda for application A624KD and turn it over to staff for the presentation of the report and the recommendation.
Thank you. This is a minor variance application for lands located at 44 Muir Road South in the County of Brant. This application is seeking relief from Section 6, Table 6.21 of the County of Brant zoning bylaw for a reduced interior side yard setback. The lands are designated as employment in the County of Brant official plan, and they are zoned with a site-specific AE 29 zone, which is an agricultural employment specific zone. The applicant is proposing a side yard of 5.6 meters where 15 meters is permitted, and it is recommended that the application is seeking this for for a proposed addition. We'll still have plenty of room to maintain access. So 44 Muir Road also abuts 20 Muir, and this is the Stubby's precast site. They function as one property, and so the property line essentially is there for business purposes, but this reduced side yard setback will allow for the construction of a new building, and it will be subject to site plan control. Planning staff are of the opinion that the relief is minor in nature and desirable and appropriate for the subject lands. It is in keeping with the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw. And so for this reason, planning staff recommend that the application be approved. I'm happy to answer any questions if the committee has any.
Thank you for the presentation. Do any committee members have any questions to staff on this? None? Okay. Member Emma.
So the application is to deal with the south side of the property line of the north property?
Through the chair, that's correct. So if you look at the map 3 aerial imagery, you'll see the building on the subject lands. It would be south of the existing building between the property line in red.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments to staff? I believe the applicant and the agent are present. Do you have any comments or a presentation of your own to add to the staff report?
Hi, good evening. I'm Brendan Flewelling with GSP Group here on behalf of Stubbies. I think the staff report clearly outlined the purpose of the application. It is for a reduced setback to an interior side yard of 2 properties that are owned by operating companies of Stubbies. So while in a normal situation it might be a different type of variance request, in this situation it's two adjoining properties owned by essentially the same owner. And the site, as you can see on the aerial photo, really operates as one. And in fact, there'll be a future application coming to this committee looking for reciprocal blanket easements for cross access across the entire property. But that's for another day. But for the purposes of tonight's meeting, we agree with the staff report. I think it is a minor request, and they don't anticipate any negative impacts. It's a warehouse use on a large industrial property. It's imposing the 15-meter setback really is just utilizing additional land that can be better served for business operations. A setback to this interior property line of 15 meters doesn't serve any real beneficial purpose. So we think that the 5.5 or 5.6 meters is sufficient for access all the way around the building, but yet still allows for an efficient use of the property. So in agreement with the staff report as written, and just here to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you, Mr. Flewelling. Committee members have any comments? Member Hamilton, please go ahead.
Okay, through the chair, to the applicant or agent. The only question I'm looking, you touched on it partially there, that the 2 properties are identified by 2 separate owners or operating companies, and therefore that's why we need to have this minor variance. If they were, and you said that they're both owned by Stubbies, if they were legal, not legally, just a practical perspective, then we would have had to come ahead and do this minor variance. Am I correct on that?
Maybe I can answer that through the chair. Yes, that's correct. And we've had these discussions with the applicant and owners, and it's their wish to maintain the separate parcel ownership, like we've said, for business purposes. And as a result, they are aware that that comes with the variance. And as Brandon mentioned, you will see a subsequent easement application. So they do have good reasoning for it. And so for that reason, they will continue to keep the separate ownership between the 2 properties.
Okay, well, that's fine. Maybe a secondary question should follow up on that. I was out there and I wrote on that thing, and I noticed how close. When they got a building permit to put it up, was it within the framework of our current zoning bylaws or setback?
Through the chair, yes, the current buildings do meet the required zoning bylaw setbacks. As mentioned before, we are going to be going through a site plan application for 44 Muir. So there will be further review of this site and any deficiencies, requirements, those sorts of things will be reviewed again at the site plan stage.
Any final comments or questions? I believe there are none, then I will ask the committee for a motion. Member Hamilton, can you please provide a motion?
Moved by myself, seeking a seconder, I put forward that we approve application A624-KD at 44 Muir South with the additions that are on there because it's minor and it fulfills all the minor variance points that are put forward with the zoning right now.
Thank you. Is there a second to this motion? Member Panay? I'll now call the vote, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Member Schmidt.
Yes.
Member Hamilton.
Yes.
Member Panay.
Yes.
Member Vamus.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion to approve application A624KD has carried. So the application for the minor variance has been approved by the committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have item 5.4, which was part of the addendum regarding the conditions for a previous consent applications, B21, 22, 23. There is a change to those conditions, and it was sent out by email. There are printed copies if you did get one. So I will ask staff to provide the overview.
Sure, through the chair, I'll just give a quick synopsis of what's being proposed. So the purpose of the memo is to seek the Committee of Adjustments approval in a request to have a minor amendment to a conditionally approved application. So it's minor in nature, appropriate, in keeping with the original committee decision. What you'll see in front of you is a change to support condition number 8, where the removal of retained lands is taken away from the condition, and this is at the applicant's request. Planning staff are in support of this minor wording tweaking, and we can confirm that we do have a letter that has been submitted by an ecologist for the environmental implementation plan and has been reviewed by our environmental planner to satisfy this minor tweak. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have. And this is for application located at 283 McLean School Road.
I would ask for any motions that be made. Do you want a motion made for each of B21, 22, 23, or all together since they're all?
Yeah, through the chair, it can be made as one complete motion for that file.
Okay, thank you. So the committee can keep that in mind. Are there any comments or questions to staff? Member Hamilton, please go ahead.
Through the chair, staff. So really the only change on this that when we approved it back in September is we're taking the chain lands off what we approved that way. Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes, that is correct.
Through the chair to the committee, I just want to note that on the September 21st, 2023 meeting, that both Mary Jane Brown and John Vamus were not present. So I suggest that perhaps they don't vote.
So are there any further comments or questions on the change to conditions? Member Vamus?
Am I allowed to ask questions or no?
No, you can ask questions. Okay. Of course.
No, I just had a general comment. If he's cutting off 3 lots, he should be charged 3 fees. And then this development agreement that deals with grading and drainage, and that, well, if you're paying on one and not the other, well, the drainage and grading is gonna affect the other lots, so he's cutting off 3 lots, you should pay 3 fees. And he already agreed to this back in September, so he wants to change it now, well, should pay for each lot.
Yeah, so through the chair, there's no changes to conditions related to fees. This is simply dealing with the development agreement, and we have still collected securities to ensure that the environmental protection is completed in the same manner that it was intended. The plan has been submitted to the county and has been reviewed by our environmental planner with no concerns. So there is no change to the fees that he's required as a result of this condition being changed.
But he just wants a development agreement on 2 and 4, not all of them. But he already agreed in September to have it on all of them, so I think it should stay, in my opinion. He's okay with it then.
Through the chair, the agreement was related to environmental concerns. The work has already been completed. Securities have been collected to ensure that that is maintained. And as I said, they did. These lands, the retained lands that are being removed, are not subject to further development. So through the report, it speaks to the creation of two vacant lots as well as the retained lands. So there's an existing house and then the retained environmentally protected lands. So this would only be applying, the agreement would apply to the developable lots that are created.
Through the chair to Member Bamus, due to the changes that are proposed on this, we actually took another security. So we actually took a second security to ensure that we had securities on both parts 2 and 4. So we actually requested further assurances.
That, if I could interject, was a question because in the memo it says will be required. So they have been.
Through the chair, yes, they're actively working on completing conditions, and so in the last week or so since the memo was drafted, they have been fulfilling those requirements.
Okay. Member Emma, please.
Well, just so, I think I know what you're talking about, but just so I can explain it to myself. We severed 3 lots at the time for the remaining farm, correct? One of the lots already has buildings on it, so we're not going to put the charge on the one that's already has the house. We're only putting the charge on the new proposed housing lots.
Through the chair, that's correct, except we're referring to the development agreement. So yes, the development agreement would be only applicable to the new vacant lots. That's correct.
Thank you.
I wasn't here for that meeting, so it sounds okay to me. Member Hamilton.
Yeah, just for clarification on that, there have been 3 lots that have been severed. This is different from other ones because the one lot, the center lot, actually held, I guess it was the east lot, actually held the housing and the buildings and everything else, but it is separate now from the rest. The retained is all the other farm, and that's got nothing, and that's what we're taking away. But he will be charged for those 3 lots that we have severed, including the house and barn, correct?
Through the chair, yes, that is correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I think we're getting it. Any other comments or questions? Then I will ask the committee, are you prepared to make a motion on this? And the wording, I guess, would refer to the change to the condition only, not approval all over again.
Yep, through the chair, there is a staff recommendation that you could use in your motion if you wish, with reference to the file number.
Right on page 20 of the addendum, that's right, you did. Okay. If the committee members want to take a look at that on page 20 of your addendum. Would you like to make a motion, Member Emmett? Okay.
I think I can.
Okay.
Anyway, just a clarification before we start. On the front page of your addendum, it's got the 20th day of June, 2023. That should be 24. Am I right?
Through the chair to member Emmett, you were correct.
That's where I was confused. Okay, not a problem. Okay, it's moved by myself seeking a seconder, that the changes to the identified conditions as outlined above and attached are minor in nature, appropriate, and maintains the intent of the original decision granted by the Committee of Adjustment on September the 21st, 2023.
I'd only suggest, could we put identified condition 8? Because it does only apply to condition 8. Am I correct in that?
That's correct.
Okay.
And should name the application numbers too, whatever they are.
They run B21 to 23. If you want.
Yep, 23 LG.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a motion. Do we have a seconder? Member Hamilton? I'll now call the vote, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Member Schmidt?
Yes.
Member Hamilton?
Yes.
Member Panag?
Yes.
And members Famous and Brown are not voting. The motion to approve the modification to condition 8 of those applications, B21 through to B23 LG, has carried, so the change to the condition 8 has been approved by the committee. Thank you. We can now move on to item 6 on our agenda, other business, and I will turn it over to Kayla Delay to make some note.
Thank you. So through the chair, we do have some staffing updates for the committee. So Haley, our junior planner who is with us tonight, this will be her last meeting. We're sad to see Haley go, but Haley will be moving on to Perth County. So her last day will be tomorrow. Jessica Abraham, who was our contract junior planner, the committee met her during the training last month. Jessica has also accepted another position, and she's moved on to the city of Thorold. And then lastly, our director, Matt Vaughn, who you may have seen here from time to time, he has also moved on to Elgin County. So lots of staffing changes and just a couple updates for the committee in terms of who you'll see around the table.
Well, I'm sorry to see you go, Haley. But for Kayla, so just so I can understand, is the County of Brant short of planters currently, and how is that going to impact the next couple of? Well, I guess we only got July because August is not going to happen, then on into September, I guess. I'm just curious, Kayla.
Sure, thank you. So we are actively posting positions for any vacancies that we have. We do have several vacancies in the department right now. So there are postings out for some of those positions, and there may be some slight delays, but for the most part, we'll do our best to continue to bring the applications forward in a timely manner.
Yeah, basically, from the committee adjustments perspective, we may not see as many right now because, and we may see it in a couple months later, just because it hasn't been handled and put through the whole system. Is that correct?
Sure, and there is a break in August, so naturally, I think you'll see an increase in applications in the fall, given that we won't be approving any applications in August.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Member Bamus? Can I have your motion?
Through the chair, moved by myself, seconded by member Vamus, that the meeting of June 20th, 2024 be adjourned.
And I will ask all in favor, please raise your hand. I now declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.